Hey guys, it's Adam. I wanted to make a quick video going over the loot that I got over the course of mining 500 Orichalcum nodes with maximum luck. So first I'm going to go over the luck items that I had and the different boosts, but I'll try to post something in the description or either as the top comment if all you care about is the actual drops and the info, and I'll also try to link an Excel document in the description that'll have all the information as well that I'm going to go over during this video. So to start off, I have three major mining trophies, and these each provide 15% luck or 1500 luck, depending on how you look at it. Next, I have an Orichalcum mining pickaxe, and this is the only form of yield that I had during it. You can also get yield through strength, but there was a recent nerf. You used to be able to jump and reset to have a chance to one hit the Orichalcum node, and now you can only have that chance during the first swing. So I opted to just go for a dex setup while mining so that I could more easily kill some of the NPCs, or if I saw other players, I'd have a better chance of winning, since for this method, if you want maximum luck, you'll need to have PvP on as well. So the pickaxe had 9.2% luck and 19% yield. Next, I had food that provided 20% luck or 2000. And then I had PvP on as well, which provides 30%, and that was a recent update, and that provides more luck than any other single thing in the game. The trophies are probably the most important part for having your luck as high as possible, but they're extremely difficult to get, or they just cost a lot of money as well. So next, all the gear is pretty close to 5% luck, which is the max. Some of these they'll say like 4.9 or 4.8, and there's actually like a hidden percent of luck that's in the hundredths of percent. So this might be like 4.91, whereas this might be like 4.93 or something. But all of them are pretty close to 5%, which is the max. And anything under like 0.2% or so is pretty marginal, considering you can reach about 160% luck total. Next, I had this amulet, which is 9.4% luck, and the maximum luck for an amulet is 9.55%. So this is probably closer to about 9.48 or 9.47. So I think that's about it in terms of mining luck. The next thing that I wanted to look at or bring up before actually going through the results is this mining luck website. So I'll link this in the description as well. You can use it for any form of gathering. You just input your luck on all your things, and they recently added the option to turn the PvP flag on for the additional 3,000 or 30% luck as well. So that's nice. But according to this site, based on all the luck that I had, which was 158.2%, which is almost the maximum. I think the maximum is 159 or 160. It's pretty close. So you can see some of the different percentages here, and if you want to look closer at them, feel free to pause the video. But yeah, some of the more rare things from Orichalcum are actually the pristine gems, which I'd kind of noticed because I mined a lot previously as well before having max luck and before the PvP update. But the most important things for most people would be the Voidor, the Cinnabar, and the Tolvium. And as you can see at maximum luck, you're just over 7% for the Cinnabar and Tolvium, which depending on your server will be where most of your profit comes from if you plan to mine Orichalcum nodes. And then for Voidor, it's about 2.22%, although I'm not sure if this is 100% right. One thing worth mentioning is in a sample size as small as 500, it's impossible to really know whether or not the rates that I experienced were anywhere close to the real rates. And I'm assuming that this is based on data mining as well. So I'm just going to assume that all these rates are correct and that my results were just lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it and what you are attempting to get through mining Orichalcum. So now I'll get into the actual results. This is an Excel document that I made while mining the nodes. So I'll just scroll to the top real quick. So what I did is I had the node that I was on over here, and I initially tracked this just through a notepad and then moved it all to Excel. And then I put all the possible drops on the top right here and color coded them according to their tier. And if I didn't receive something, I just wouldn't put anything at all. And if I did, then I would just put the amount that I received. So I'll get down to the actual part with all the data, or all the results, I should say. So what I did is I came up with the totals, and then I did the totals per node. So if I got like 10 Cinnabar one node, it would add to the complete average of the total per node over the course of 500. And then I did the frequency, which is like the amount of times that I received that drop. For something that you can only receive one of, it's not that important, but it's kind of interesting for some of the gems that you could receive multiple of. So you could see the frequency and then compare them to the amount that you got compared to other things, because there's some things that I would get less often that have the same drop amount as others, but the things that I actually got less often, I received more of. So the first thing, over the course of 500, the amount of times that I just got Orichalcum was 353. So this comes out to, oh, I thought I had it. Yeah, so this comes out to 70% of the time, just about 70, a little more. I only received Orichalcum, and then I didn't see a real reason to do the frequency or anything, because obviously if I'm getting nothing, it's happening only once. Next was Voidor, and this was really surprising to me. I hadn't done much mining after the PvP update, but it seemed to make a really large difference, because I received 20 Voidor over the course of 500 nodes, which, like I said, because of the law of large numbers, this could be pretty far from the average, which this site had actually said the average was, or the expected rate was 2.22%, whereas for me, the rate was, where is it? Oh yeah, it would be 4% of the time, because to my knowledge, you can only receive one Voidor per node. There's some information out there that people believe you might be able to receive more if you're able to get your, uh, what is it called? If you're able to get your yield high enough, which you can increase the yield through strength and proficiency boosters. So it may be possible, but I've tried it before with the highest proficiency booster, and my strength high enough that I was getting a bonus from that as well as a bonus from a territory. And I was unable to get more than one Voidor when it did drop, but that could be something that's up to chance. So I'm not entirely sure, and I don't want to say that it's not possible. So next was Cinnabar. I got 384 Cinnabar, which came out to 0.768 Cinnabar per node, just under one Cinnabar per node. And I thought this was kind of worth including, because if you consider maybe Cinnabar is 150 gold on your server, then every time you mine an Orichalcum node, you're making about 120 gold theoretically from Cinnabar alone, and it's actually more than that, because there's plenty of other drops you can get as well. You could probably calculate the expected profit per Orichalcum node that you mine, but it's not really something that I can do for just everyone, because prices are obviously different from server to server. The next thing was the frequency. I received Cinnabar 50 times, which came out to 10% of the time, which was higher than the expected rate on that website as well. Tolvium, I received 328, which leads me to believe that they are the exact same drop rate, and I can't see any reason that they would not be, because that would effectively make one much less valuable than the other, considering that they both need to be used at a 1-to-1 ratio to create osmodium. Although you are able to use them in crafting individually, but it's just not as effective as osmodium. So the amount of time that I received Tolvium was 42, which came out to 8.4% of the time. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is these chunk of crystals and some of the other stuff, chunk of cobalt. These, I can't remember exactly on this site, but I think it's right. Yeah, so they are supposed to be much more rare than the Voidor, and they're actually on the exact same drop table. So the way that mining luck works in this game, you have an initial roll, and the more luck you have, the higher that potential roll can be. That's why if you're attempting to get Voidor, you need to be at least 180, or I think yeah, 18% mining luck. So, and that can be done just through reaching level 180, because the way that it works is you roll a certain number between 1 and 100,000, and in order to receive Voidor, you need to roll above 118,000. So you cannot do that unless you have the mining luck, because each additional piece of mining luck, or each additional percentage, allows you to roll, I believe it's 100 higher. So that's kind of where these numbers come in. So through trophies alone, I'm able to roll 45. So yeah, through trophies, I'm able to roll 45,000 higher because it's 45%. So yeah, it comes out to 45,000 higher. At least I'm pretty sure. I read a lot about it, and it's kind of difficult to explain, but if anyone's curious, I could probably answer some questions about that better in the comments than I could just through talking on the subject. Um, so the thing that I wanted to mention about chunk of crystal and chunk of cobalt is that I used to get a lot more of these, and they're actually on the same drop table. So if you roll above that threshold to reach the Voidor, then you have a chance to either get a chunk of crystal, a chunk of cobalt, or the Voidor. And if you roll high enough, then you get the Voidor, and anything below that causes you to receive the chunk of crystal or chunk of cobalt. So based on my thinking, the fact that I got 20 Voidor and only one chunk of cobalt and one chunk of crystal, it kind of makes me think that there's also a lower threshold associated with luck. So I think it might actually decrease my chances even further to receive these two drops through having the highest possible luck. Although, like I mentioned, it's not really possible to know if that's the case or not, because 500 is a relatively small sample size considering the percentages and how low they are to receive these actual items. So if you're curious about some of the other things like the slivers and whatnot, you can look through the Excel file, or I'll try to post a picture or something at the end. And instead of going through all these gems individually as well, I kind of just wanted to go through the totals. So over the course of 500, I received 12 pristine gems, and that came out to about 2/100ths of a pristine gem per orichalcum node, and that would be the drop rate as well, because to my knowledge, it's only possible to receive one pristine gem per orichalcum node. And then the one that was the most interesting to me was the brilliant gems. So over the course of 500 nodes, I received 285 brilliant gems, which came out to a little over half a brilliant gem per node, and the frequency was 128 times. So that came out to a little over 25% of the time I was getting a brilliant gem with while mining a node. And then finally, there's the small quartz crystals, and these are fairly common. I got these a little over 16% of the time, and to my knowledge, you can only receive one of these each time as well. But the biggest money makers from mining Orichalcum are probably the Voidor, the Tolvium, and the Cinnabar. Maybe in the future, the chunk of cobalt will be somewhat valuable because that's a modification to a crafted item that guarantees mining luck on your necklace. But yeah, overall, it's pretty profitable to do this, and once your luck gets high enough, it starts to seem like you can get a Voidor maybe once every, I think in my case it was once every 25 nodes, which your outcome may vary, but yeah, definitely, I would definitely say that luck uh, has an extremely large impact, especially considering I mined a lot of Orichalcum nodes when I was level 50, and I had 200 mining and pretty good mining luck gear. I had no trophies, but I probably mined more Orichalcum than I did in this specific test where I recorded everything, and I did not get a single Voidor, although I did get some Tolvium and Cinnabar. So I'll try to link this in the description because I think being able to look at this Excel document is probably more beneficial than me just going over it and explaining stuff. Um, but yeah, other than that, I'll I'll go back to my main monitor here in a second and pull out the Voidor. I actually just got AFK logged because I guess I've been talking for 15 minutes already in this video. But yeah, I'll try to get that here real quick. And then I didn't really plan on giving an explanation for the most effective ways to mine during this video, but that's another thing that I was kind of interested in making a video on because a lot of people, there's a couple spots that a lot of people will be at regardless of the size of your server, but one method that I actually used that I thought was pretty effective is there's some locations that may only have 4 to 5 Orichalcum nodes, but if you if you play another game or something like that, like in my case, I would play League of Legends, and after each game, the nodes would be they would respawn maybe 5 minutes before I finish the game on average. So most of the time, you can just log out, go do something, and then log back in and uh, grab the Orichalcum nodes, which, although it's not as many nodes per hour as some other methods, it is pretty comparable considering that even mining on the beach in Ebonscale, you might only get 25 nodes per hour or at the very best maybe 30 nodes per hour. And through this method, there's some locations where you might be able to get 18 nodes per hour or 15 nodes per hour and use maybe a tenth of the time since you're only logging in twice every hour. So finally, I just wanted to show some of this stuff right here. I think, yeah, so I have 14 Voidor still. I sold 6 of them because I had seen some buy offers and my server is relatively dead. So because the buy offers were relatively high compared to the server that I intend on transferring to, I figured I might as well just get rid of them. But I still have 14 left over. Um, and not all of this stuff is from the 500, but I'd say a large portion of it is. But of course, all of the numbers, the exact numbers are in that spreadsheet. But some of this stuff is from mining uh, prior to the PvP update, like 607 small quartz crystals. It's not even possible to get that in 500 nodes. And I sold some of the Tolvium and Cinnabar as well, and I believe I actually have some at different locations too. So, but yeah, a lot of this stuff is just from the 500, and some of it is not. And like I mentioned, I only got one chunk of cobalt and one chunk of crystal during that 500, but previously I had gotten 3 of them and 2 of these prior to this video, so I definitely used to get them more often. But yeah, I think that's about it. If there's anything else that you have questions on or wanted to know related to this topic, then feel free to let me know and I'll be sure to answer in the comments. And if there's any other kind of test like this that someone wants me to do, feel free to let me know as well, because I really like doing this kind of stuff. So I think the next thing that I might do it with is platinum veins, because those actually have a better chance to drop the pristine gems than Orichalcum does. But yeah, anyways, if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and see you next time.